Welcome to Clicks and Coffee. Today, I'm thrilled to introduce Akinleye, the Director of Memory Support at Elegance Senior Living. Mrs. Akinleye brings extensive expertise to her role overseeing daily operation and ensuring top quality care for residents with memory-related conditions. Beyond her work at Elegance, she serves as a healthcare consultant at Guidepoint and is the founder of SAWA Nigeria, an organization dedicated to empowering individuals and communities. Mrs. Akinleye's passion for enhancing seniors' quality of life through innovative and compassionate solutions is truly inspiring, and I'm eager to discuss her journey, insights into memory support, and her vision for the future of senior care. Opie, thanks for being here.
Well, thanks for having me.
All right, so first, soon we'll have to call you doctor because I know you're working on your PhD.
Mhm.
What inspired you to pursue a career in in senior care, not senior living, but senior care?
It's more of I grew up with a lot of old people around me. My grandfather was actually like the main point of why I actually love the geriatric population. When he was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, we actually didn't know what Alzheimer's was. And we know there were signs, but we just never really paid attention. So with me moving here, it was my goal to learn more about the geriatrics, no matter the little things, as they're getting older. And eventually I'm going to have parents that are going to get older, and I'm also going to get older. So at least the knowledge would be with me and also be passing on to other generations as well.
Wow, so it's pretty. It's a personal thing. It's really
Mhm.
personal, and so can you tell us a little bit more about? Um, I would say that the memory care, which we know is, I don't know if it's the cases that are increasing or it's more the awareness of it, just like you mentioned for your really your personal life.
Mhm.
Can you tell us a little bit more about that and you know what how are things changing? I would say related to memory care.
So within the past few years that I've started working in senior living, the increase have been rapid. And it's not only just a certain type of dementia. We're having alcohol-induced dementia. That's actually more common now within the older population. And it's alarming, yet it is something that we could simply avoid now with the next generation because no matter what, we always have to take care of ourselves. I mean, environmental factors also factors into the dementia world. It's just more of like the old generation. They're very good with hiding it. They know something is wrong, but they won't say something. But with the underlying disease that's also there, they relate that to it. They might have problem hearing, but then at the same time, they might be forgetting, oh, I need to put my hearing aid on. Or maybe they turn on the stove and then they forgot that they're cooking something. So it is rapidly increasing, and that's where we have people like the Alzheimer's Association helping out in like catching those little things and understanding what it is like and what that looks like if you have a loved one with it.
And so how do you work on that at Elegant Senior Living? How are you? Because I'm sure that you have a part that is just senior living and then a part that is memory care. So
Mhm.
how do you, I would say, detect those things, and then how do you do the transition, or how do you go about the transition between the two?
Oh, that's a good question. So, actually, in terms of finding the prospects that comes into the memory support, we do have our director of wellness. We get a lead from like a place for mom, for example. Those are like companies that either screen the people or even from the hospital. Maybe they've done the diagnosis and saying, okay, this person is cognitive needing like a facility, like a memory support facility. So we have those people helping us first, and then we do assessment. We either bring them into the facility, do assessment with them just to kind of know, okay, do they really have the cognitive impairment or some type of dementia? And then we go by points, depending on how much care they need. If they're independent, because we do have some dementia residents that are still independent. It's just more of like queuing, reminding them of like what they need to do. So we have those people, and my part is just making sure, eventually getting to know them, getting to know what they were like before the situation that they're in. I always tell family members that come in, like, it's not just know, like, if they're having some behavioral aggressive issues, it's not that it's them, it's the environment, because environment plays a huge factor, because they taken from a place that they're familiar with before, and then bringing them into a facility that they don't know anybody, so it's a new familiar place for them. So environmental plays a factor. So that's basically my that's where I come in, and then the activities that they do, tailoring it down to what what they might like, or because then I also figure out, okay, do they have sundowning? What time are those? So that's where I come in, and also having to equip the CNAs and the staff, making sure like we're all on the positive side, and also making sure that we're all on the same page with the care for the resident.
And so, what advice would you give to families that are, I would say, battling a little bit with their loved ones that are not in a memory care support facility, they're at home? What would you tell these people? Like, should they come and ask for help? Should they find, in-house help, or kind of how do you, because I know that your end goal is to make sure people live the best life possible. What would you tell these families in, then at this point you should really, search for the help of a senior living facility that can help with that, or for the until then, you can stay with at home or things like that?
Oh yeah, definitely. What I always tell families, or what I would tell family, is more of like, it's just a disease. They have underlying disease, and being able to have a support group is the best thing. You cannot be arguing with your siblings about like, oh, this is where things needs to be, but however, you have to be able to support, like, have that support system. And with our facility, I know we have memory support group that we have for families once a month, and that's where they talk about everything, talk about how they're struggling with everything. I definitely know some of them call me and just ask, like, do you think it's okay for my father to be here or for my mother to be here? And I always tell them it's okay, because there was a reason why you're bringing them in the first place. If you want them to be at home, you also have to have the support from resources, like have the resources that could help you out, because it's a lot of work. I would not lie, it is a lot of work with dementia resident. It is. This is where they're more like a child now, like, because their memory is more of like a child now. You want to be able to keep that part of their childness and just build on it, not just letting them deteriorate as the degrees the disease is increasing. Because dementia today, you can be diagnosed with dementia today, and then within some few months, it went from moderate to to severe.
Wow.
It all depends on the person. However, with the support, um, you always have to think on the spot, like, okay, am I doing the best thing for my mom? Am I doing the best thing for my dad? And at the end of the day, if you want to keep them home, just make sure you have the resources to help you out in the home as well.
So it's always good to really find, I would say, a place with a lot of support,
Mhm.
because cool. And so I know you're very busy with that. You just said it. You're also a consultant at Guidepoint, and one of the things that I wanted to talk about is your foundation, SAWA Nigeria. So, kind of want to hear a little bit the story behind that and see what you're doing.
Oh, so SAWA Nigeria was actually it was built off of an organization, URI. I went to University of Rhode Island, and I was in an organization called SAWA URI, which is Student Alliance for the Welfare of Africa. And at the time, even before I went to URI, I was already on learning about like what they do on campus, how they're making an impact. And when I went to URI, I fit right in. It was a organization that was bringing awareness because there was not a heavy presence of the African society in there. So like that was more of like a community for us. And when I approached the founder of it, I had told them that I was also looking into opening an organization in Nigeria, but I just didn't have a name yet. And eventually, long story short, he said yes. I actually told him I was changing it to SAWA Nigeria and not like, so it doesn't relate to the URI one. And eventually, I was dreading it until I met my husband at the time. He was my boyfriend at the time. And he was just like, well, you have the vision, you have the vision, you have the goal. Just write it out and just go for it. Do your first event. And the first event was Clothe the Street. And I kid you not, because this was in Nigeria, I kid you not. I felt bad because I didn't even have enough to give out because there was so much, because at the end of the day, I grew up, I wouldn't say I had the best background, but I knew there's a need in the community. It wasn't, I mean, there's a lot of organizations that are helping, but everyone is helping in the way they can see fit. And for me, it was more of like just being in the community with the people, hearing what they need, hearing what they might want from the government that is not doing it for them. So the first one was amazing. Then I came back, I was like, okay, now we can do this. I registered it right away, made sure like, okay, nobody steals the name. And then I started asking people for resources, how to do everything. And eventually it blew up to something. And then I started having bigger vision of like what that would look like. And I remember what my grandfather always said whenever we're talking. He always said, know where you come from, know where you're going, and know who you're doing it for. And that just clicked for me that the education aspect, a lot of these kids I started seeing, actually it was more of like me driving around and I said, oh, that was an idea. I saw a little child learning how to be a mechanic, and my heart just broke down that he is young. And then I asked for his story, and eventually we ended up doing a video with him because he actually trekked from a different state to the current state he was in so that he could feed his people back home. And that broke my heart. And I said, you know what? I need to do something in regards to education. And I ended up doing an after school program for people that cannot afford to go to school, but still getting some form of learning. And now we founded it in 2018. So now it's been almost, that's like almost 8, 9.
7 years, yeah.
Yeah. So, and
Crazy.
it's been going good so far. It's been a
That's
lot of work.
exciting. Yeah, no, I can imagine. That's great. And that's really an amazing, an amazing thing. So for anybody that wants to see what you're doing for SAWA, can you give us the URL for the
So
association?
we don't have a
I don't have.
website. I am big on not showing what I'm doing. Like
Doing it.
I have an Instagram that we ended up just stopping because people wanted more and more and more. And I'm like, I don't like being under pressure. But a lot of people know about it. I mean, we're right now in the process of building facilities for after school program, mothers in need for stuff, the orphanage. So we're in the process of building that. So I don't have a website. It is eventually going to come out because a lot of people wants to see like the progress, the from where we started and where we're at now. But hopefully, once the facilities open, I can open up with the website as well, so people can see what we're doing. But it is there. We are doing work. I have a lot of people working for me as well, and responding back to me. So we are doing. It's just more. I just want people to know that I don't have the foundation just so I could show off. It's more of just like personal thing and just making sure
You
I'm giving.
prefer to do things than showing that you're doing things.
Yes. Yes, definitely.
That's the great way to do it, and that's also a way to really maximize, I would say, the efforts into action rather than just talking about it.
Talking about it, yeah.
No, that's very amazing. And at Elegance, um, so what would you say that you're trying to implement that's a little bit more innovative, or like what are you trying to do to improve, I would say, residents' life, and what makes it a little special, like being at one of Elegance properties?
I mean, one thing I know that they keep talking about is actually going through the dimension of care and the dimension of activities that we give this resident, because I see it. What can work for Florida facility does not work for a Rhode Island facility,
Oh,
because at the end of the day, it's two different weather. We're in a state where there's snow, there's the weather changes, where there's a sunny Florida, where it's sunny, it's hot. But one thing I definitely know that I've seen that I've implemented is the communication within families and staff. And there was none before, because everybody just talk and talk and talk, but it's more of like communicating together because we want the best quality for them. And when we see, I definitely know with my staff, even as soon as I walk in, when I say hi, can we have a meeting? Can we? So like those communication has actually developed to the point that like families are more comfortable opening up to us, so we could be able to help them out as they're going through this. I mean, one thing I definitely know, we also implemented having residents family come in during activities and run activities, just so they can feel comfortable in case they are home with them by themselves. Like, okay, or maybe dad likes coloring, let me have coloring books at home. So that's, we've been seeing an increase in that. Even bus rides, they go on the bus ride being the chaperone, just so like they can see how, interactive they could be in a different aspect or in a different scene. So that's been good. And I just hope and continue that we can continue doing more for the family and the resident. I mean, the resident, like I always say, I never go home saying I hate my job.
that's
I
good.
never. Like from when I say good morning to when I say good night, everybody, like it's like they look forward to that, to me coming in the door. They look forward to me leaving in the night. And it gives me joy because I'm like, oh, I'm doing something nice. I'm doing something good. Because those things are rewarding. Even if I don't get it from the corporate office or anything like that, I know they're rewarding me for doing the best I can for them.
No, that's beautiful. And one of the things that I've been discussing in the previous episode is we're seeing a lot of advances in technology, and there are some people, working on like AI camera with image recognition for safety and things like that. How do you approach technology at Elegance and in your line of work?
Well, so in terms of technology, I think the only thing we have right now is just the TV and the program that we use for activities. In terms of dementia, you want to make sure that you're sparking their memory in terms of like things they were used to back in the day. So programs like that have been really helpful. Um, we're not big on AI yet. I mean, I even try showing them a video of an AI movie, and they were yelling at me to turn it off because they're not used to it. that they were not big on technology when they were in their younger days. So now it's just more of like, even if I play a video of the memory of like something they watched in like 1960s, they remember that much better, and I can turn it off and then we can create a discussion about it. And that's what they like. I don't know how AI is going to be for I know for my generation. I don't know what that would look like, but at least with them, it is definitely not possible because they're used to a certain way and a certain thing. So trying to incorporate technology with it, no, they can't even use an iPad. Even if I put it in front of them for an activity, they can't use that because they don't know how to work it. So we've tend to just more of like paper videos, hands-on things, because that's stimulating their memory as well, like storytelling, those type of things. So I don't know what the future will be for the data part, but we have,
That's interesting.
yeah.
Because I have my grandfather actually. So my grandmother passed away a couple of years ago, and I would say 10, 15 years ago, she got stuck after an accident and really could not do anything. So she still wanted to be able to, talk to people and do things. So my brother helped her get a computer and then an iPad. And after she was like the, technology queen, and was helping my grandfather. But when she passed away, my grandfather always hated all of this. He's, I think, 95 now, or he's going to turn 95. And so he kind of had to, pivot and start using it, and at least
Mhm.
Facebook, because everybody is trying to put, videos and photos so he can kind of see what the family is doing. So
Yeah,
it's fun to still see that, some people they refuse, but some people like they are trying to do it. So I think it's going to be interesting in the couple of years when
it will
it's
be,
really
especially
becoming.
especially I would say with dementia, it's going to be a little tricky just to see what that would look like. Because I mean, for right now, the youngest I have on my floor is maybe 65. And yeah, 65.
Oof.
And I I believe that even if I give her a tablet, she'll be able to know what it looks like. She can look at the picture, but she doesn't know if she could swipe left or right. But I will be interested to see what technology will be like for them. Um, I mean, for us in the next future, because I definitely know for right now, the ones I have with dementia, they would not be able to understand. And I mean, there will be some people that might be good. I mean, we had someone who moved in the other day, used to being on the iPad, knew how to take pictures, but now even to do a FaceTime, he doesn't know how to do that anymore, because there's just a part of the brain that just shuts down.
Mhm.
And once it's shut down, you can't wake it back up. There's no way. And I know the family was concerned because it was recently diagnosed. But like I said, dementia residents, when I mean as men especially, they know how to hide it so much that you don't catch on until it's too late. So, but
No, that's true.
I would like to see what technology is like for our future. So,
Yeah, yeah, no, no, for sure. But yes, it was the other day. I had a very interesting conversation where um, the I was talking with the executive director of the Sika Foundation, and one of the things that he would love to see is really analytics, but more for making sure that we never miss anything.
mm,
And so, for example, and maybe not for memory care, but just for, I would say senior living, where it could track like the water intake of people, and it could
mhm,
track if somebody falls, it could track if somebody's like, asleep for too long, it could track
mhm,
things like that, and then kind of alert the staff of saying,
mhm,
hey, you should go see Bob because he looks like he hasn't drank in 5 hours. It's
yeah,
like help him. And so that could help bring the effectiveness, I would say, of the care. don't put too much pressure also on people, because one of the reasons Sika Foundation was created was to help, the too much pressure in the
Mhm.
industry, where you're getting might be dealing with families that are frustrated, but it's not really your fault.
That's true.
um, and things like that. So I was pretty fascinated by the idea, and actually found a couple of companies that are working on that already, uh,
Oh,
for in rooms and everything, for fall prevention. If somebody also wakes up at night, in the middle of the night, and start like walking around, and like
yeah,
doing,
yeah,
and to kind of help people in a much faster way, because I know that happened to my grandfather, where he just wakes up randomly and start walking around. So
it's good.
it's not good, if it's not good for them to do that, but it would be good if you have something that can alert the staff, in a much more efficient way. But yeah, so yeah, it's a lot of things going on, a lot of ideas to help the aging population that I
Definitely.
really like. And so, um, can you tell us a little bit about your goals, and I would say future of memory support at Elegance, and then a little word maybe also on the future of SAWA. I know we briefly talked about it, but kind of here, what are you working on?
I mean, my goal is to at least make sure that all residents, like no matter what, that they are safe, and not always looking at them as like, they are dementia resident. They're still an adult. They're still independent. As much as we try not to say that, but I just want to see a safer environment for them, and also not and paying attention to what we might think is neglect or abuse, as small as like denying someone of a Tylenol. That's neglect. So I want a safer space for them, where they can feel comfortable, as they progress, and as they're towards the end of life as well. And in terms of SAWA, honestly, just finishing up our projects, um, and having more partnership. Right now, my biggest one is working with New Balance, in terms of providing tennis rackets and shoes for the kids. It's a way of discipline. As much as people think tennis is fun, it's a way of discipline, especially with kids that don't have a family, or don't have the coordination of being or being
Support you.
coordinated, or being like supported. So that's a way to guide them. I know, I've seen it work in when I was in AmeriCorps, when tennis was an after school program for them. It was a stress reliever for them. Like, okay, they went to school. I'm not going to be home to see my parents. But it was a disciplinary thing for them, because then it got them excited that, I'm playing tennis and it's helping me out. So that's one of my biggest goals, just to partner up with New Balance and providing resources for them as well. So
That's pretty exciting. And so, if people maybe not want to get in touch with you for senior living, because I don't know if you would be the person to reach out to, but if people are interested in learning more about Elegance, how could they get in touch with you, or with somebody from the company?
I have an email that they can reach out to me, and the phone number. My phone is always open. Anyways, so
So
do
we'll
you
add
want
it in the description of the
Yes,
video then.
definitely.
Perfect. And same thing for Sawa. That would be the
Yes.
same
I
info.
have an email. I have a SAWA email. I have a SAWA phone number that they
Perfect.
can reach us at. So
Cool. Well, OP, it was a great pleasure having you, and really seeing, I would say, how is it in the trenches, and seeing that, we have amazing people in the US, that really helps and love what they do, and really try to do the best thing possible for, our loved ones that, we have to get help for. So thank you for what you're doing. Thank you for being on the show, and I wish you all the best.
thank you for having me.